want to lose weight, but really, do you know how much you should be eating? On food labels, let's say 2,500 calories for guys, 2,000 for women. Your mate down in the pub says you're not eating enough, you need to eat more to lose weight. But you know, when you look down, your belly is getting bigger. Yeah, so how much should you actually eat so you can actually lose some weight? In the video today, I'm going to tell you exactly how to find out how much you should be eating to lose body fat. It's not as simple as you think, but to be honest, it is pretty simple once you know how to do it. So at the end of this video, you will know how. For me personally, I need to eat about 2,800 calories to 3,000 to lose weight. And how do I know that? Well, I found that out nearly 20 years ago. So we're going to rewind back in time and I'm going to explain how I found that out. But first, don't forget to subscribe to my channel because I'm documenting my whole fat loss phase. So yeah, you don't want to be eating the same things as I do, but the principles that I use are the same principles that I use with my clients, and they're going to be the same principles that you should use to get in great shape. So give us a subscribe so you can follow along. Let's take it right back to 2006. Up until about 2006, I didn't really know how much food I should eat. I ate a lot. I trained a lot and my muscles grew and I got bigger and I was never out of shape. I was always pretty in shape, but I never really had to worry about how much I ate. But in 2006, I decided that I was going to enter a bodybuilding competition. And if you know anything about bodybuilding, you've got to be extremely lean. So there's a big weight loss element to it and muscular as well, of course. So I was in half decent nick at the age of 25, 26, but I wasn't as lean as I needed to be. So I needed to know exactly how much food I needed to lose body fat so I could get in the shape of my life. How did I do it? Well, how I did it 20 years ago was very similar to how you would do it now. It required a little bit more work 20 years ago. So I set flight with my calculator, my actual calculator. There's a calculation that you can use. You put in your height, your weight, your activity level, and it spits out a number, just a number. And that is your maintenance number of calories. Fortunately for you, you don't need to worry about doing the calculations now. All you need to do is go onto Google, go onto ChatGPT and say, how many calories do I need? And that calorie calculator will give you a number. And that is the theoretical number that you need to maintain weight. So you take 200, 300 calories off that, and that should be your number. And if you hit that number every day, then you should lose weight. But it's not quite as simple as that, because that number's just theoretical. It doesn't take into account you and your individual differences. And that's where most people go wrong. So they go on a calorie calculator and they got a number, call it 2,000. They hit that 2,000 number and nothing happens. And nothing happens, they don't lose weight. And then they go, well, that doesn't work. Calorie counting doesn't work. It's a load of rubbish. And they just sack it all off. But what you should do is what I'm about to tell you next. And this is the same process that I did in 2006. And it's the same process I do in 2025. And it's the same process that I get my clients to do. Is we start with that number and then we need to see if that number is the right number for you. And how we do that, we give it some time. So we aim for that number. For me, at this moment in time, on this current fat loss phase, I'm averaging about 2,800. We give it 1 week. We monitor the weight on the scales. We assess what is actually happening in real time. We give it 2 weeks of the same number. And if at the end of those 2 week period, your weight on the scales is the same, and you've been honest and you've been hitting that number, and your goal is fat loss, we know that that number is too high. If you haven't been hitting that number because you can't for any particular reason, then that's a different matter. But just looking at pure numbers, if after a 2 week period, that number you've been hitting every single day equals you maintaining body weight, then there's a chance that number is too high. So your number is probably a couple of 100 or 300 calories lower than that. So that's exactly what I did in 2006. I started with about 3,000, 2,800 to 3,000, because it is fluid, it's not an exact number. And I ran it for 2 weeks. And what happened? My weight started to drop. And then I ran it again for another 2 weeks and my weight was dropping even more. So for me, I know that that is my number. And it hasn't really changed over the last 20 years. So once you've worked out what your number is, it's really powerful, because you know any time you go into a fat loss phase, if you hit that number, then you're going to lose fat. So what should you actually eat to make up those numbers? Well, that's a whole other story. So subscribe to my channel and I'll tell you in the next video.